Today's episode is brought to you by the Sea Org. Indentured servitude for salvation? Alright. So I have been reading The Year of Living Biblically. Holy crap, I can't say that. Start again. I have been reading The Year of Living Biblically by a guy named A.J. Jacobs. Awesome book. Really recommend it. By the way, if you're watching this right now, get your ass back to work. In the book, he talks about this one story in the Bible about this woman who wants to get pregnant so badly that she dresses up like a whore and has sex with her father. The baby then eventually produces King David, the greatest king of all time. And this got me thinking. Even though L. Ron Hubbard was a complete gigantic asshole, does that still mean that Scientology can one day become a true, legitimate religion? That's a good question. And then I started thinking about Mormons. So, as you probably know, Mormonism was started by a guy named Joseph Smith. It seems that Joseph Smith was married, but he was caught sleeping around with like a 13 or 14-year-old girl. And it's interesting. It was only after he was caught sleeping around with the little girl that he came up, or that he said that God gave him a revelation announcing celestial marriage. Now, if you don't know, celestial marriage is also known as polygamy, which most of you know as HBO's Big Love, which is the only good reason to show Bill Pullman naked. And after Joseph Smith announced polygamy, basically three things happened. One, people stayed because they are afraid. Two, they changed to another religion. Or three, they stayed Mormons, but they said, to hell with Joseph Smith. That guy doesn't represent us. He's an asshole. And if you look at Mormons now, generally they're nice people. I mean, kind of aside from the people in Utah and BC where they, actually still practice polygamy, Mormons generally are really nice. And the reason, I think anyway, that the religion stayed around and it flourished into something positive is because people took control of their religion. So the moral here is, if you're a Scientologist and if you know that there's bad stuff going on in your church, you need to take your faith back. You need to raise your voice, because if you don't, Scientology will crumble. If you want to keep Scientology working, stop the price gouging. Also make sure that Scientologists, if they've done something wrong, make sure they're brought to justice. The people who have committed crimes are making you look bad and making your faith look bad, and your church protects them, and that's not right, and you know that's not right. Now that said, I know that L. Ron Hubbard isn't Joseph Smith. There are similarities. I mean, they both had problems with rage, and they both had inappropriate relationships with young girls. That's a fact. And I also know that Scientology isn't Mormonism. But I do know one thing, though. You can't predict the future. But you can use history to kind of draw a line of best fit. I think that Mormon history, therefore, is probably the best way to make an educated guess about the future of Scientology. But again, I don't know. I could be wrong. And that said, I think I do need to apologize to Mormons. I am, in this video, only representing a tiny fragment of their history. And I'm really not being fair to them. But that's only because I'm interested in keeping this video under 2 hours. I mean, I could talk all day about Mormon history. I think it's fascinating. And I think, like I said, they're good people. So if you want to learn something about their faith, go and talk to them. I mean, they're friendly. They won't call you a pedophile if you disagree with them. So yeah, and there's churches everywhere. Just go check them out. They're nice people. This is Richard Ward, expecting to be sued by Scientology.